Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of What's Hot with Sea of Tranquility. New reviews all the damn time here on the channel. Today we're going to take a look at, I believe this is the 17th studio album by this Swedish band. Of course, it's on Inside Out Music. The album is called Love. The band is the Flower Kings. There you've got that carnival strongman, bending the bars, right? It's kind of the look and feel we got on this whole digipack of like a circus or a carnival type of thing. At least some of it, right? Then as we dive a little deeper, there maybe not so much there. There you got the guys in the band. Let me pop the disc out so you can see everybody. Roy Stolt and friends. Got 17 albums. It's crazy when you think about it. I've been listening to these guys all the way back to the beginning, their first album, but certainly that Roy Stolt album, solo album called The Flower King, right? It's kind of where it all began. Genesis for this, of course, you know, he was prominent on the Swedish progressive rock scene prior to that with Kaipa in the 70s. Of course, here we got lyrics and photos from the sessions, the recording sessions. I see our friend Mr. Hasse Froberg there as well. Good booklet, right? You got lots of pictures, lots of information, lyrics and stuff like that. So, of course, we have on the album, let me read all this to you here. On guitars, lead, rhythm guitars, acoustic guitar, 12-string guitar, lead and backing vocals, Mr. Roy Stolt. Also plays a little ukulele. Got Hasse Froberg on vocals, lead and backing vocals. You got Lale Larson on grand piano, Fender Rhodes electric piano, Hammond B3 organ, and various synthesizers. Michael Stolt, Royna's brother, on bass, Moog bass synthesizer and vocals. And Mirko De Maio on drums and percussion, along with a little bit of help in the studio from folks like Hasse Brunjason on percussion. Of course, long-time member of the Flower Kings, been in and out of the band many times over the years. Jannica Lund on backing vocals, Alexander Jasinski on accordion, and Jacob Collier on guest vocals and choirs and things like that. So what do we have on this album? Another, you know, it's funny, I've had this discussion before. I've been a fan and a follower of this band for many, many years, since the beginning. Seen them live a bunch of times. I generally like the Flower Kings. I found in more recent years that sometimes their music is just, it's a little too epic for me. The albums are too long. The songs are too long. They come out with albums fairly frequently. So it's like just when you're thinking you're digesting one of their records, you blink and like a year later there's another one out. And it's just so much music to constantly digest every time there's a new Flower Kings album. They're generally very good. I just found that as I'm getting older, the longer albums, the longer songs, all the time, sometimes like they kind of all sound interchangeable to me after a while. But I always go into every Flower Kings album with an open mind saying, okay, I know that's how I've been feeling, but let's just toss that aside and judge the album by its own merits. And that's exactly what I did with Love, right? So the first time I heard it, I was kind of feeling a lot of the same things. And I'm like, oh, all right, well, obviously I got to give it more time, right? So I've given it a few more listens, and I think finally it's starting to click with me a bit to the point where, okay, maybe I'm getting past my preconceived notions, which I come to the table with for every album of the Flower Kings. And it's got a lot of the qualities that I like from the Flower Kings. Yeah, it's long. It's like 70 minutes long. It's another long one. There's a lot of tracks. There's 12 tracks, but thankfully it's mostly made up of shorter pieces with a couple of lengthier songs, which I think is pretty good. I will make the argument, though, that probably a few of the shorter pieces just don't really make much of an impact. And I'm even wondering if this album could have been cut back to like maybe 55, 60 minutes tops. Probably be a stronger release in my view. But anyway, we'll get there. We Claim the Moon is the first track. You know, right off the bat, it's up-tempo, very melodic Flower Kings. Their style, their sound is unmistakable to me. As soon as you hear a Flower King song, you know it's them. Their music is not overly heavy. It's very melodic. It's very kind of dreamy in spots, but sometimes they have these little kind of bluesy moments. There's lots of emotion in the vocals. There's lots of great keyboards. I'm finding as the Flower Kings have gone on in time, I think they've mellowed a little bit in time. I think some of the earlier albums were much, much more rockin' and bombastic. There's not as much of that on here. This is definitely more lower key Flower Kings, and yeah, you get some excitement in plenty of spots on here. But for the most part, this album just kind of like drifts along at a kind of an even keel. And if you like that more relaxing mode with these guys, and they're just not blistering you, or hitting you over the head with these long extended guitar and keyboard solos that just go on forever, this is definitely more of a song-based album. We Claim the Moon, very, very good track. The second song might be my favorite on the album, called The Elder. That's also the longest track on there. There's only 2 songs that exceed 10 minutes long, this and the closer. The Elder is just over 9 minutes. I like that quite a bit. Really, really good. Like I said, it's got some great vocal. I love the vocal interplay between Stolt and Froberg. Always good. I like both guys as singers. And, Royna's a very good guitar player. He's playing with... It's like a lot of bluesiness going on certain songs on this album, especially from his guitar work, which, I'm okay with. It brings something different to the table. Keyboards are fine. Larson is a really good keyboard player. He's been in the band now for a number of years and albums, and I think he's settling quite nicely. It's a lot more electric piano and light Hammond. There's not as much bombastic synth. You don't get lots of mellotron from the early days and whatnot. But it's definitely very cool. Then you got How Can You Leave Us Now, which is more of an emotional piece. I like that. Then you got, World Spinning. It's kind of a quick little piece. Doesn't really register much at all. Burning Both Edges is one of the more rocking and proggy songs on here. I like that quite a bit. That's just under 8 minutes long. But then I find the Rubble, Kaiser Razor, the Phoenix, and the Promise, which are all the next 4 songs. They're all fairly short. They just, every time I listen to this album, it's like they just kind of go by and don't really raise much of anything to me. And it's not till we get Love Is, track number 10, where all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, that kind of caught my ear. That caught my ear. Great vocal melodies on here. Another really emotional, kind of very melodic one. It's, like I said, it's not overly rocking. It's not overly proggy, but it's just very, very much ear candy. Like the Flower Kings at the top of their game can do that. They can deliver a mellower song. It's more of kind of like a prog ballad and still really catch you. Love Is has some great vocals. There's some stunning harmonies on there. Really, really nice. Tasty guitar solos too. And then you got Wall of Shame, which is track number 11, just over 7 minutes long. That's also really good, up-tempo. And then the last track is Considerations, just over 10 minutes long. And that is very typical Flower Kings. Really good, nice build to the song. They're very good at doing the slow build and using guitar solos and keyboard solos to kind of bridge the gap between the big vocal melodies and choruses and things like that. So I like this, right? I find it's not a very consistent album, but the highs are very high. Okay, I think it's kind of front loaded and then it's kind of back loaded. I find some of the middle a little on the average sort. So I'm going to give this a very, very solid 3.5. It's probably pushing 3.75. Right? I think there's going to be some people going to like this even more than that. I totally can see some people giving this a 4 and higher because, again, it's high quality. It's the Flower Kings. The vocals are well done. There's great melodies on here. The playing is very tasty and expertly done. I just wish that some of the middle of the album tracks were a little bit more engaging for me. But that's just me, right? But the beginning is great. The end is great. So you start off an album, you end an album, both with a bang. I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's my review of Love by the Flower Kings. If you've heard it, let us know what you think down in the comments below. If not, go check it out. If you're a fan or a marginal fan, it's a new one. You should go listen to it, give it a shot, and visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube all together, all the damn time. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alerted of all of our content as a post. And please do hit the like button before you leave. Also down below, we got the links to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, our merch page, our Cameo page, and the Sea of Tranquility membership options. Thank you for all your support, folks. Greatly appreciated. And we'll see you soon here with more stuff. I'm Pete Pardo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.